So, why I lived in my car for over a year, and I feel like I need to explain this because a video of mine that's getting a lot of views right now, which is the day in the life of a homeless college student, I get a lot of comments about like, oh, this shouldn't happen to you and things like that. Basically, I believe a lot of people think I was homeless due to the fact of finances. And that's just not the case, so I feel like this video needs to be made before I further myself in the future. So let's get into it. This started way back when I was 17. I was still living with my parents, my real dad and my stepmom. If you want to know about my life, I'll put a little card up here so you can check that out. Essentially, I didn't feel like I was going to be able to grow as a person if I stayed living there, and I'm going to just leave it at that. I don't want to get into any personal reasons that might affect their lives right now. Anyway, let's move on to me. So at this time, I was already paying all of my bills. I was paying all of my expenses. The only thing I wasn't paying for was rent, and I was just living at my parents' house. So it just came to this point where I got tired of everything building up, and I was already paying for everything. I'd already calculated my budget for paying rent, and it just so happened that a buddy of mine, Jose, we decided to move to the next city with his brother. So rent at this time was about $350, and I lived there for about 2-3 months. It was all good. I didn't have this thought about never paying rent, which I have now, because it's kind of pointless to pay rent. It's actually one of the biggest expenses people have in their lives, is living expense, like rent and things like that, and I just want to do that right. So after about 2-3 months, I remember this clear as day. I was in Raising Cane's like drive-through, I believe. I was getting a cheat meal. I don't eat out that often, as you guys know. I'm really cheap, frugal, but I do eat out sometimes to get away from the diet that I have. But I remember this. I got a text from my bro. He was like, I'm tired of my brother, and he's gonna move back to his parents' house. So he was like, bro, you're welcome to come live with us. This is in the city that I was living in, instead of the city that we moved to, which is about 30-35 minutes apart if you're speeding, like 25 or 20. But I had just started going to college right there. This was a month and a half before college about. I started living in my car about in October of 2017, I believe. I had just turned 18. My birthday's on October 5th. I had just turned 18, I believe. After that, I remember this because I was still living there. He gave me this text. He was like, bro, I'm tired of living with my brother. Like, he was getting annoying. He wasn't liking the living conditions. And so when he left, I decided not to go over there, back to the cities. I decided not to go over there due to the fact that the gas, that was part of the reason I wanted to move to this next city. Was because I wanted to save gas, because I knew I had a job in this city at the time. I almost said the city. I had a job in that city at the time, and I was about to go to college there. Well, I had already started college at the time, which is why I wanted to move there. So the gas every single day would have been actually kind of crazy amount of gas, but I actually make that travel now because I live for free with my girlfriend. Nonetheless, let's get back to the point of why I lived in my car for over a year. So this is back in 2017. My buddy was tired of him. He moves back. For a couple more days, I stay with the bro. I'm still splitting rent with him. Still the same amount, $350, for only a couple more days. It gets to the point where I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was exactly. I was like, you know what? Like, I don't even think I told Jose at this time. I was like, bro, I'm gonna try and sleep in my car. Like, I'm gonna try and sleep in my car one night. So I remember packing everything. I think it went down more like this. I started packing everything into my little car, my little Camaro. I have a video about that. Packing everything I owned into that little Camaro, back into the Camaro. And I was about to go move in with Jose, I believe. I think I was about to go move in, like the same day. I had decided to sleep in my car. So that was the first day. I don't even remember. I think it was probably around October 20th, somewhere around there. Maybe October 18th. I don't know why I remember those dates. But I slept in my car that night, and oh my, it was easy. There was nothing to it. I mean, it wasn't as comfortable as, you know, you would expect a bed to be, but for obvious reasons. But like, there was just, in my mind, it just clicked. I was like, I could save this $350. Fun fact, I opened an investment account on October 5th, the day of my birthday. and threw like 2 grand into the stock market. So that was where my head was. I was in like making money mode. I was in investing mode. So whenever this came about, I was like, 350, man, I can start putting tons of money into the stock market that I'm not, like, I wouldn't be spending on rent, essentially. That was my thought process. And of course, everybody was like, dang, is he doing that bad? You know, like, I feel like that's what people thought. Some people knew that I was stacking money on the side. Other people, like, obviously it's a hard thing for people to understand, especially when I make a video stated the day in the life of a homeless college student. People are like, college, homeless, he's homeless because of college. You know, that's not the case. I go to college for free. I'm a double major and I go to college for free. Let me explain really quickly how I go to college for free. So first of all, I got TOPS, which is a program in Louisiana, and it pays for about half, right? And I don't know how long this is gonna be available to me. The other is the government pays for the rest due to the combined income of my parents isn't sufficient enough for them to support me in school for obvious reasons. Which is kind of the reason I moved out, was because I was already paying for everything. So the government gives me the other half, and there's a little bit left over that I actually get every single semester. So I go to college for free. Double majoring economics and finance to let you guys have that information. Back to why I lived in my car for over a year, and I made a video about when I would move out of my car, and it already happened. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the quarters of my life. Like, I have the Y1, that means year 1, and then Q whatever, that's the quarter of that year, 4 quarters in a year, and I'm gonna keep documenting. But in quarter 4 of the first year of my life that I've been documenting, I had already moved out of my car. So this is about a year and I think 2 months that I had lived in my car. Why? Is because I got offered to live with my now fiance and her parents. So it's her mom's house, and not her parents. Her parents don't live with her, it's just her mom. Her mom is in real estate. What we've currently been doing is helping her with the real estate, and of course she lives for free because that's her daughter. And then I'm her fiance, and we have a really good relationship. She was like, look, come live with us. And then I help her with her real estate and things like that, kind of like a trade, but it's still for free. That was the only way I would move out of my car, and I said that in that video. Other than that, like, if anything goes wrong over there in that situation, which I know there's not, hopefully not, that I would still move back into my car. The truth still holds true. I never plan on paying rent, like, ever. Like, that is not something I'm gonna do. What I plan on doing, which I've already explained before, is living for free once I get enough capital to invest in a 4-plex. Living in one living in one flat, which is what they say in the British Isles, I believe. Living in one apartment, and then renting out the others to pay for all of my expenses. So theoretically, by buying this form of a business, using the cash flow to pay for all of my expenses, and I would still be living for free and building wealth at the same time. That's the theory. So that's why I did it for over a year, was because I never had the opportunity, nor did I save up enough money to live for free. I had always planned on living for free since October of 2017 until I was able to do that little business model of paying for my living expenses with other apartments. And that's what I still plan on doing. Like I said, if anything goes wrong with our relationship, I get kicked out of their house or something like that, I doubt it, I would still move back into my car. Like, that's just where my mind sits right now. I'm trying to get ahead on my finances. That's the whole point of me living in my car. It was not because I was behind, it was because I was already ahead, and I wanted to stay ahead and get such a jump start that compound interest in the future would be astronomical. And of course, it's really hard to see right now, but my first year of living in my car, I had like a 90-something% savings rate. I didn't spend money on nearly anything. You guys could see, check those videos out on what I spent money on for food. All that, my expenses were extremely low. I never paid for living. I built one stock portfolio over $10,000, and I built another over $6,000. Of course, towards the end of the year, if you guys are paying attention, I did lose some of that money. I spent some of that money on a brand new car because I was having car problems. But all the knowledge, everything, the humbleness, everything that it taught me, which I'll make a pros and cons video eventually, but just realize, like, the benefits I got from that year in a couple months is astronomical, and it was to get ahead on my finances, and trust me, it worked. The knowledge and everything I built up, I almost had about 20 grand. The crazy thing is, that might not sound like a lot of money. Guys, I only made like 22 grand. that year. Like, I saved an insane amount of money. So that's about it. I mean, I hope that explains it. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. Ask me anything. Like, comment, share. Please subscribe. Join my journey, documenting every single quarter for the rest of my days. From my journey from living in my car, homeless, to successful. That's what I'm doing here. You could also ask me questions on my Instagram at Jonah Fury, so check that out. Give me a follow. Any advice you need, I'm here to help. But I mean, as always, guys, this is why I keep grinding, and this is why I keep growing, is because I'm making these sacrifices. It was a sacrifice. I mean, I could keep talking about it forever, but that's the basic idea, is to get ahead on my finances. And it just gets me mad whenever people think I'm that stereotypical living in my car because I decided to go to college that I couldn't afford to, like, just all that. It's just annoying to me. So I had to make this video to explain it was not due to the lack of finances. It's so hard to get people to understand because they have this normal mindset. I just don't have a normal mindset. Anyways, back to the outro. Like, I can go off on a tangent on this. It just gets me so, like, annoyed. But as always, guys, keep grinding and keep growing.